Hey everyone, welcome to Farmhouse Harvest. Today I'm just going to take you along with me in the kitchen as I make this delicious bean and salad. It's like a fresh pico de gallo with fresh beans, black beans and corn in it, and avocado if you like avocado. And then it's dressed with a really delicious combination of zesty Italian dressing and lemon juice or lime juice and salt, and it's one of our favorite salads. I make it every summer. It goes delicious with the chicken enchilada casserole that I'll be showing you. I also call my chicken enchiladas a white girl enchilada. And I was thinking like Tex-Mex or Texas enchilada, but I live in Idaho, so Idaho enchiladas, they're white girl enchiladas. I have been using this recipe for several years. It's super easy to make, and I'm going to show you how. So for the fresh bean salad, I am using a couple cans of black beans, rinsing those really good. And then I'm chopping up Roma tomatoes. I like to use Roma tomatoes because they're less juicy and more fleshy. So they're really good for fresh salsas and for this fresh bean salad. I'm using 4 of those. Chop them up as small as you can. If you're like me and you like to get little bits of everything on your fork instead of big chunks, I like to make sure that my tomatoes are sliced up nice and small so that the largest piece would be under 1/2 inch. And then to that, I add about 1/4 cup, maybe a little bit less, of extremely finely diced red onion, and about 1/2 cup of, actually maybe a little more than 1/2 cup of the chopped cilantro. I love cilantro. It's so fresh and I just love the flavor. And then those flavors all go really well together with just lemon juice and salt for a fresh pico de gallo. But then, of course, today I will be adding the beans and the corn to turn this into a delicious side dish. So you can enjoy this salad on its own with some corn chips, and that's delicious too. Of course, if you add chopped up diced avocados, that is a delicious option for this salad if you like avocados. I'm actually taking this to a family for dinner, and I'm not sure if they like avocados, so I will just probably bring them a couple avocados in case they want to add it to the salad. I have made this several times without the fresh corn in it, but I really like this fresh sweet corn. It's very sweet and delicious, so I'm adding that into this salad because it's more of a side dish instead of a dip. Of course, it could be a meal all on its own if you added avocado and just served it with corn chips. I'm just adding a cup of the zesty Italian dressing. I actually drain off the oil because I don't like all the extra oil. And of course, I have to taste it, and it's very good. So today I am going to be making a huge batch of chicken enchiladas because I've got a neighbor who's moving, and I'm going to bring them dinner. And then I've got a friend who just had a baby, so I was going to bring her dinner. And then, of course, we'll make some for my family. So I am using 3 large sweet onions. These are delicious sweet onions that grow here locally, and I am lucky enough to get them from the farmer. And so I'm actually going to be using my food processor to chop these up today because I cry so bad when I am chopping onions and I can't see. So even just chopping these up and putting them into the food processor is making my eyes water like crazy. And I'm going to go wash my hands as soon as I get these into the food processor, and then I'm going to have to wipe my eyes because I'm just crying like crazy right now from the fumes. Okay, so I'm gonna add to my cast iron skillet about 2 tablespoons of butter to saute these onions and celery in. I just like to get them nice and translucent before adding them to my chicken mixture. I actually got the idea for this recipe from a sweet gal who was Hispanic and made excellent enchiladas, and then I've kind of adapted it to be a lot easier for me, and I'll show you how I do that. I don't actually roll the enchiladas individually, but I make it more into like a casserole. So I'm chopping my celery now. I am cutting each celery stalk into 2 or 3 pieces and making them really thin so that when I chop them, the pieces are really small, and that just makes it kind of disappear into the enchilada a lot better, and you get more of the flavor so that because you just have small pieces of it in each bite. And the kids don't pick it out and accuse you of putting onions and celery into their enchiladas. They don't really notice it at all. So really these only need to saute for like 10 minutes till they're nice and translucent. Earlier today I did put 6 chicken breasts into my Instant Pot with a bunch of salt and pepper and paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, and so these are nice and seasoned and super soft. In fact, they're so soft that they're really hard for me to get out of the Instant Pot without making a big mess. But I'm just going to get all these chicken breasts onto my cutting board and then shred them up really nicely, nice and fine for the enchilada filling. And because they were thawed out when I put them into my Instant Pot, I cooked them for 1 hour on high, and they are just perfectly falling apart, and so shredding them is super easy, and I'm just going to be able to do that with mostly my knife, and as I push down they just shred apart, so that made it really easy. If you actually start with your chicken breasts frozen, then it will not be this tender, and you might have to cook the chicken breasts a little bit longer. But I have noticed that if you cook frozen chicken breasts in the Instant Pot and you are trying to make it become shreddable, it can become super dry. So I really do feel like it's best to start with a thawed out chicken breast for this recipe. I didn't get it on camera, but I did empty out all the extra juices and that were left in the Instant Pot from cooking my chicken breast. I did add the 6 chicken breasts and a cup of water, so there was the natural juices from the chicken and the 1 cup of water. I did empty that out, and now I'm just adding the chicken back into my Instant Pot because it's just a convenient pot to mix everything together in. You can use any bowl. And I'm just going to carefully add in all the celery and diced onions that have sauteed nicely till they're nice and translucent into the chicken mixture. And then I will add some cumin. Cumin is one of those spices that I love. It is a very pronounced flavor in a lot of Mexican food. So if you smell a taco seasoning, you're probably smelling the cumin that's in there. It is a very smoky, delicious flavor, especially with Mexican food. To that, I am adding 2 jars of green salsa verde and then a cilantro lime salsa that I like in this dish. And if you have homemade green salsa, that works great too. You could also use an enchilada sauce. I did look at the enchilada sauces in the store, and they all of them contained something called MSG, which I really do not like to feed my family or myself. So I use the salsa instead. So 2 jars of that just bring the chicken and the onions and celery together nicely for the filling. Then at the bottom of my enchilada pan, I am adding more green salsa. Then I layer that with the corn tortillas. This is how I make it so easy. It's just so easy. You don't have to roll them up individually. I'm kind of making it like a lasagna. So you put your salsa down, put your tortillas down, then you fill it up with your chicken filling. And on top of that, I am adding the Fiesta Blend shredded cheeses. Honestly, I did not shred my own cheese today. I don't usually buy this kind of cheese, but since I'm making 3 casserole dishes, it's just a lot. So I am going the easy route today and using the pre-shredded cheese. So I added cheese before I put the tortillas on top, and then I added more green enchilada sauce and more cheese to the top of that, and this is ready to go in the oven. And starting the process over, I did have a little bit of the cilantro lime salsa left, so I'm combining that with the salsa verde on the bottom, adding my tortillas, and then my chicken, filling with the onions, the cumin, the celery, and the salsa verde in there, and the cilantro lime salsa. I will add another layer of cheese on top of this before I put the tortillas on it again, and then cover it. After I get these tortillas on, I will add more of the green salsa or the cilantro lime salsa. You can use either, they're both delicious. They just really need to keep those tortillas wet while they're cooking so they don't dry out. And then add cheese to the top of that, and that is ready to go in the oven for either my family, your family, or if you're giving it away. It's a great dinner to take to somebody. So finally down to the dish that I'm making for my family, adding the salsa to the base. I am using the cilantro lime salsa this time. You could totally use the green salsa verde. Use your favorite green salsa. Add your chicken filling to that. Because it's the last time that I'm making this, I just go ahead and use the rest of it. And then spread that out evenly and add your cheese, your tortillas, more salsa to cover those tortillas, and then more cheese. And then that's ready to go in the oven. So because everything's already cooked in this casserole, you really just need to put it in the oven at 350 degrees until your cheese is nice and bubbly and everything has come together. Also, these are awesome leftovers. Now I am making dessert. It is strawberry season. I have so many strawberries coming out of the garden every day. I am picking about 3 gallons. So I am bringing fresh strawberry pies to my friends and for my family for dinner, after dinner tonight. But because I'm making so many of these pies tonight, I'm actually just going to use the graham cracker crust that you buy at the store for like $1.50. And to that, I am adding the cream filling, which for each pie is 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese. I like to use the new Fetchel cheese because it's a little bit less fat. To that, I add about a 1/2 cup to 2/3 cup of strawberry Greek yogurt. Blend that up really nice and smooth, and then I do add about 1/4 cup of powdered sugar just to make it a little bit sweeter, and spread that on the prepared graham cracker crust. I also have made this pie several times with a regular pie crust, and that's delicious too, but I am making a lot of food today kind of in bulk, so I'm just doing it a little bit easier with the graham cracker crusts that have already been prepared. I love the creamy filling on the bottom of the fresh strawberry pies. If you've been eating a lot of strawberries like we have, your tongue kind of gets desensitized to the flavor of the strawberries and the tartness of them, and the cream base just kind of evens that out, the tartness of the strawberries, and just helps you to be able to enjoy those flavors so much better. One of my daughters loves just this filling in a graham cracker crust with no strawberries on top at all. And basically it's like cheesecake. You don't have to cook it. It's just like a no-bake cheesecake on the bottom. And you do need to refrigerate it so that this can firm up before slicing it. Or I'll show you what happens here, because I am going to enjoy a piece before it gets the chance to really firm up in the refrigerator. But if you're making this for your family and you want to impress them with the look of the pie slices, then you will want to let this chill in the refrigerator for at least a couple of hours before serving it, so that when you cut into it, it makes a nice clean cut. So these are some of the fresh strawberries from the garden today. I did wash them and take the tops off. They're all kind of small, so they go perfectly on top of this fresh strawberry pie without having to cut them. And I am serving this with my fresh strawberry freezer jam, which I will link below in the description for you. But it is just basically blended strawberries with a little bit of thickener and a tiny bit of sugar and lemon juice to round it out and make it stay bright red and pretty. So you don't have to make it look pretty with the strawberries on top. You can just put them on top. You could also mix your strawberries with the strawberry freezer jam before putting them on top, which is how most people would probably do this. But I am serving this to my family right now with just the strawberry freezer jam dolloped on top like whipped cream. This would also be delicious with whipped cream. The other pies that I ended up taking to my friends, I took the fresh strawberry freezer jam and I actually spread it out on top of the cream cheese layer, and then I put my fresh strawberries on top of that. Either way you do it, it is delicious anyway, and I'm sure your family will love it as much as we did. I hope you enjoyed these recipes I've shared with you today as much as we do. They are certainly foods that we make every summertime, with the bean salad, the enchiladas, and the fresh strawberry pies. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and we'll see you next time.